That's all we're going to get is this day. You had yesterday. You made a difference that day. You made the difference the day before. And of course, like I stated, those things are recorded. But the journey never ends. It's never going to stop. This is just the beginning of our future. That's what it is. This week's Torah portion is dealing with the topic of what they call Maseh. And Maseh is what they mean to go on journeys. Okay. Let me see here. I'm gonna pull up my screen, share my screen with you all. See if I can get a full. Turn this off right quick. Hallelujah. I told you that I wanted to, my desire was to share about this, what you would say, the servant. I was gonna go there. Yah redirected my path and wanted me to make sure that we all fully understand. Hold on for a second, you guys. Fully understand. Oh no. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yes.
Wanted all of us to fully understand the path that he's putting us on, you know? Let me see here. I'm trying to expand this. What's the problem? Oh, here you go. Oh, geez. Okay, whatever. All right. Internet's a little slow, so forgive me. He wants us to understand the path that we're on, the journey. This word Maseh means journeys, okay? And it comes from the word masa. And masa means to break down. It means to unload, okay? And to upload, to unload, to pull down. Oh, what is going on? Forgive me, you guys. This thing is not behaving today. There you go. It means breaking down camp. As we discussed all this week, Israel has been on a journey from the moment that they left Mitzrayim until they arrived at the desert of Moab and the steeps of Moab next to the Yarden River, which was right directly next to Jericho, was the place that they were going to cross over to conquer. Along the way, they've had their wars. Yah has been prepping them. He's been preparing them. But this whole journey of 40 years has been an up and down with Yah, okay? As we discussed earlier this week, a lot of these locations, I didn't write them all down. I didn't put them on the screen because there's just too many of them. There's 42 different up and downs that Yah has the children of Israel going through, which I find to be quite interesting. Because if you think about it, there's 42 destinations, right? And then he says to the Leviim when they get there, I want you to have 6 cities for the refugees, right? I mean, for the a place of refuge, but I also wanted you to give 42 cities. 42 cities to the Leviim. And that just came to my mind just now. That's pretty interesting. But what's more interesting, again, is all the different places that they were going to. Each one of those places had their own names, as we said, like, you know, they went to a place of the palm tree, place of righteousness. They went to a place called Mara, a place of bitterness, a place of dovkwa, meaning a kneading and a beating. They went to a place of Raphadim, resting. And so all these itam means I'm with you. So they were going back and forth and up and down. And they had to do this under the leadership of Moshe and Aharon. And along the way, there was a lot of challenges, And so in our lives, what you and I are going to experience along this path is challenges. That's what you and I have to look forward to, is these challenges. The challenges that come upon us is never easy, It's never going to be easy in the beginning of anything, having to relearn everything, being in an environment that you don't know. I've listed here 3 different things that I don't know if any of you have ever gone camping before, but these are some of the top 3 things that you always have to look for when going camping. And number 1 is site selection. That's the number 1 thing. Is it a level place or is it on a hill? What's the conditions like? Is it going to be able to have easy access to? Next, the sanitation. What goes along with that? Where are you going to, use the restroom? Is there any water? And then of course, after that is being organized, so those 3 things right there were the top 3 things that anyone would experience when they're going camping. Okay. So here's a people that had been held in bondage and captivity, and they were asked, okay, and given the order to let's go, you're leaving. Okay. A lot of them did not want to go. They wanted to stay. And that has always been the problem for our people, is when there's a challenge that they have to face, they tend to not want to go. They tend not to want to do it because they know that it's not going to be easy. That's why a lot of people don't follow this walk, because they know, hey, I had people to tell me, no, I'm not ready for that. I can't do that right now. My life would change. I can't give up my Saturdays. I can't give up, it really told me I can't give up my crab and my shrimp and all those different types of things, So this idea of camping and this idea of journey, okay, means that things have to change, and they're always going to be changing. It's never going to be easy, especially at the beginning. As time goes on, things may become a little bit easier, but we know that the Creator himself was in charge of the site selection. Okay. We know that. Yah is the one who would lead them and guide them to the places that he wanted them to go. He led them by a cloud by day and fire by night. He specifically chose these places for them to go because what he was doing is developing their character. He's developing them. I asked myself the question, why would the Creator bring them out to the desert where there's nothing? And, they look at the word desert by midbar, but it also has a function, meaning there's nothing there. Okay, literally. They got some shrubs and, there's other areas that may have maybe some water. Then there's other areas that don't have any water. We noticed that there was a place where there were pomegranates, and there's another place where they might be able to get lavona, and so forth and so on. But overall, it's not a place where anyone desires to live. And that's because of all of his challenges, and how things work. Okay. So our Creator took a people, chose for them to go out into the wilderness, and he brought them to a place of desolation. Okay. The reason why he brought them to this place of desolation is simply because it's an actual witness to them that this is exactly what's going to happen to Israel if they're not following what he said. Okay. There's more evidence to this about the different places where he told them to pronounce the blessings and the cursings on 2 different hills, Mount Gerizim, and then the other one, I forgot the other name, but one of them was very fruitful and had a lot of bushes and greenery. And the other one, which I can't remember off the top of my head, was one of desolation. Okay. Yah brought them there to show the condition of their mindset. Okay. And because they're already at a place of desolation, what he wanted them to know is that the only one that you can depend on is me. I want 100% trust, and I mean 100% dependency. I need you to depend on me. Okay. That's what I need. I need you to trust me, and I need you to depend on me. Okay. And not just for some things, but for everything. Okay. And Israel was willing to do this because of their situation and their circumstances of being in slavery. But again, they really didn't want to go. Right. So that means that they had to give over everything to this God or this Elohim that they have never known and that they don't know. They don't have an intimate relationship with him. So Yah brings them to a place of desolation. As I said earlier this week, it's not only desolation, but it's isolation. Okay. Isolation. When you and I begin this relationship with the Creator, it feels like as if you are in isolation. That means you're completely alone. Okay. You're alone because you're seeing things from a different perspective. You're alone in the way that you begin to think, what you begin to eat, what you begin to understand. You're alone in your study. You're alone in your conversations because no one else has anything remotely close to what you're talking about. They don't understand you. So it's a very place, it's a place of isolation. It's a time of aloneness, but what they would call loneliness. Okay. So you're lonely all the time. You're lonely all the time. You feel, like, hey, there's no one with me. I'm the only person here. There's no one who really understands what's going on. You lose family members. You lose relationships. And so this is what y'all, and you also, along the way, you start losing some habits that you have had. You have to be broken of those things. Okay. So each one of those site selections had to do something about building your character. Okay. Sanitation on according to the Torah has to do with our idea of being Kodash. Okay. That means to be set apart. Living with the Creator, as he told us in the Torah portion this week, that I need you to make sure that you don't defile the land or defile anything because I live among you. This is a great, I think, an opportunity for the children of Israel to have the Creator of the heavens and the earth to live with them, and this is something that you and I can look forward to. And along the way, before we get there, we have to understand that in order to live with Yahweh, there has to be a high level and degree of sanitation. In our case, it wouldn't be called sanitation, it would be called purification. Okay. And we get that purification through different means, as we've been learning through the Torah. We get it through the water purification, through a certain process that he has with the red heifer. We get that purification through atonement, through the blood of atonement that was done once a year, Yom Kippur. We get that through bathing ourselves in regular water and be clean and be unclean until the evening. So we've been learning these things. And so one purification for one set of circumstances is not always the same. There's always a variety of different ways. Now, we don't fully understand why you have to wash yourself on the third and seventh day, but we understand that that's what the Creator's asked us to do. Okay. So we don't have to have all the answers, but what we need to do is trust what he says. Okay. Last but least, in this in particular area about it never being easy at the beginning, is that organization is one of the most challenging things in any family, any business, any, event that is put together. So there has to be a very, I would say, organized, very detailed mind. Okay. So what we're learning too from this is that everything that the Creator has said to Moshe and Aharon, which were leading the children of Israel, it was based upon the details that he would give them. Now, we learned earlier that Moshe and Aharon both failed in one detail. They failed in one detail. And because of that failure in that one detail, about this idea of set apartness, about Yahweh's name and what he says, they were not able to go into their destination. Okay. Along with our ancestors who did not do what Yahweh said. Okay. So organization is very important. We learned that without organization, and I'm just kind of walking us through what we've been going through for the last several weeks. Yah has separated the tribes and he's put them in order, the north and the east and the south and the west. And he put himself right here in the center. And he wanted a certain amount of people on one side and he wanted some other people to be on the other side. And he organized them according to their tribes and according to their numbers. Within that, you see there's division, right? So even in the family of Lewiim, okay, he split them, and he made one for the Kohanim, and he kept the other ones for the service of the tabernacle, right? So they have two different, there's organization there, okay? You have, on the north side, you have the Dan and Asher and Naphtali, he's at the top. And then you have Yehuda. He's a leader, right? You got him on the east side, and he has with him Shimon and Issachar. No, Issachar and Zebulun were with him. Yeah, Issachar was with him, and then Zebulun was with them as well. But over each area in the south was Reuben, okay? And so in each of these areas, you would have who was the leader of that in particular side of the camp. Okay. So we see that there's a lot of organization here. There's a chain of command. We noticed that organization in the army. We had the leaders and the chiefs over thousands, and then we had those over hundreds. Then we have those who were over their families, right? We have this idea of organization, And so this is something that Yah wants to, bring out to us and let us know that I'm an Elohim of organization. Okay. And I'm very detailed in when I ask my people to do. And I'm not just, randomly selecting things as I go along. Yah has a plan. Okay. So those are some of the challenges that they were faced with. And those are the challenges that you and I are going to be faced with, When we talk about Massa, about lifting up and breaking camp, once they broke the camp down, right, which is never easy at the beginning. And of course, they got better as time continued. They had 40 years of practice, okay? But even so, after the 40 years of practice, they still had a lot of challenges, which you and I can see through our narratives of the prophets and, the judges and Psalms. And we see this, okay? But this is a path that we're on as a people, okay? The next word that's connected to the word Massa is Nasa, okay? I think I mentioned to you earlier this week that Massa had another definition, meaning a burden, okay? And that is found in the book of Malachi, chapter number 1. It says, they say prophecy, but it's really a burden, okay? This word Massa that we have right here is not talking about a burden. It has somewhat of a, it could be a burden, right? But there's two words that have the same sound. But what the difference is one has the samak and the other one has the shin. That's the difference. Okay. So the difference is the letter. Okay. And so, but they both sound exactly alike. So when you hear Massa, you would say, okay, that's camping or journeying, but also means a burden. And this is one of the terms that the slaves would call their slave masters. You thought they call him, master. They would call him massa. Yes, a massa. Yes, a massa. Right? Because they were saying in their own little language, they thought he was saying master. They were saying that he was a burden to them. Okay. Which brings me to our next word, nasa. You've seen this before. We talked about it. It means to lift. That's what it means, to lift and to carry. That's what it means, to lift and carry. Just like, NASA, where the rocket, same thing. Okay. It means to lift and to carry. Why did Yah lift and carry? What has he lifted and carried? Well, Yah has carried Israel along this journey, along this path for a long time. Okay. And it wasn't just the 40 years, as we're going to see. The Creator has had a great amount of love and concern for his people. He's always had that. And it's proven by the words that he has communicated through Moshe and other prophets. Here he says in the book of Devarim, the words in chapter number 1, Moshe is talking to the children of Israel before they go into Jericho. And he says this, and likewise in the desert, where you saw how Yahweh, your power, carried you. That word carried right there is the word for Nasa. Okay. That's what it is carried you. Okay. Like a man carries his child along the entire way you traveled until you arrived at this place. Yah has been carrying Israel for a long time, as a man would carry his child. Yet in this matter, you don't trust. And what matter? In the matter of Yah carrying them. They never fully grasped that concept and understood it. Your power, even though he went ahead of you. And Yah was the one who was seeking out places for you to pitch your tents and showing you which way to go. And by fire by night and by a cloud during the day. That's how much love and concern that he had for them. Yah was always thinking about what was important for them. When we talk about love, that word is called ahav. Okay. And in the word ahav, the root of that is called a hey and a bet. Okay. Those are the two letters that we use here. Okay. Hey and a bet. And the hey means to look, right? To behold. And then the second one is called the house. So love, in our understanding as a Hebrew people and as a Ivret people, is always to look towards the house, look towards the family. Yah's concern is that he treated Israel as it's his own child, which is true. Israel is Yahweh's child. As he says, this is my son. I told Pharaoh to send my son away. And if you don't send my son away, I'm going to kill your son. He says in the book of Hosea, chapter number 11, that Israel is my son. He's my firstborn son. That's Yahweh's firstborn son. Okay. Yah also mentions in the book of Isaiah, what we've had before, that I have sons and daughters. I have sons and daughters. So Yah is carrying us like a man would carry his child, and where would a man carry his child? He'd carry him on his shoulders, he'd carry him on his hip, he'd pick him up, make sure that he's always taken care of. And so that's what Yah has for us. He's always looking towards our good. And in his love, Yah is taking us to the places where he wants for us. Okay. And you and I have to trust. They did not trust Yahweh in this, but he's asking you and I to trust him, because he's seeking out places for you and I to go. He's setting up where you and I need to go in our lives. What you're doing and where you are in your life right now is not by accident. It's not a coincidence that you are where you are. It's not a coincidence that you live where you live. It's not a coincidence who you're with in terms of a mate. It's none of those things. Those are not accidents. They're all planned. Everything in our life has been planned because Yahweh has always been looking out for us and showing love and concern for us. And as you notice, the love and concern that he had for them, he brought them to places that didn't even have any water. And often we mistranslate, thinking if you don't find any water, then there's no love there. Often as a parent, you're misrepresented because you won't give your child what they want, or you may discipline them and they don't like what you're saying to them. And then they don't understand. So love is never, and concern is never going to just be giving things. Love and concern for someone is always putting people in places that they need to be at the certain time they need to be. Putting us in positions where you and I need to be in order for us to grow and to develop into the people that Yah has called us to be. He led them by fire. He gave them light when there was no possible light. He wanted them to know, if I bring you to a place and there is no light, I want you to know that I am your light. I want you to see that there is no cloud, there is no rain. Okay. So there's no way possible for you to survive. I bring you to a place of where there's desolation and isolation in order to talk to you, in order to get your attention. I can't do that when you're involved with other people and when you're letting every other person have their voice in your head. So this Torah portion is about walking on this journey with Yah, this pathway with Yah, just you and him, and as a people, we're all walking with him collectively, but individually, as you've seen over the last several weeks, there have been certain individuals that had a different type of relationship with Yah. And the ones that had a different relationship with him were the ones who were committed to whatever he wanted them to do. We got Caleb. He said, there's no one like him. He has a different type of spirit. He's wholehearted with me. We had Yehoshua. He was always sitting in the tent of meeting, trying to learn and figure out what it was that he needed to do and help Moshe and be his assistant, right? To be supportive to whatever he was doing, and then when it came time for Moshe, he asked a question, who would you set over the people? He didn't automatically say, here, choose Yehoshua. He didn't even do that. He understood what it was. The selection process has to be by Yah's picking. Yah chose individuals in our Torah portion. Before they went into the land, Yah says, go ahead and choose these men. And you look carefully at their names. A lot of their names have to do with glory and esteem and had to do with them as people, right? Like Amihud and this other one, they got Ami in there, means my people. It's people who had concern for their people, not just themselves. And that's what Yah's looking for. He's looking for individuals who care about his people, therefore caring about one another. And that's what this is about. The journey is for us to develop into the type of people that Yah can look to say that I can trust you. I can trust you with my laws and my statutes and my commandments, my holy decrees in which I've revealed to you and no one else. I can trust you with the Shabbat day. I can trust you with the diet. I can trust that you will raise and teach your children my ways. I would trust that you would have fidelity in your relationships, in dealing with each other, and fidelity with your mate, and fidelity with your friendship, and fidelity with your parents. I can trust you with that. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I have love and I have concern for you. Okay. So I also mentioned to you this week that I wanted to introduce you to a new word, which, you can add to your list. You should always have a piece of paper. It's called Aye. Okay. Aye. Aye. Okay. And I believe it's an aleph and a yod, and they put a little dot right there. And then they got the hey right here. Okay. Aye. The dot here means make two different, two yod sounds. And that's for those who are in my class. But those who are not in the class, that's okay. Okay. Aye. Aye means where. This was a question, right? This is an interrogative that, Yah had asked in the book of Jeremiah. He was always like, where? He said, the children of Israel never asked, where is Yahweh? The priests never asked, where is Yahweh? Who brought us out? Where's Yahweh? Who gave us the Torah? Where's Yahweh who brought us out of the land of Mizraim? Where is he? So we want to focus on where, this is something you can apply to your life, where something is. And it's important for us to understand this idea of where. You need to question where, because if you know the me or, who, which is me right here, that's who, this is where. And then we also had our another interrogative, which is ma, which is like what. And then we got lama, which is why. You got to know the why behind things. You got to know the who. You got to know what you're talking about. And you got to definitely know where you're talking about. Location is important, okay? In any type of journey, you better know the location. It's a reason why Yah told Moshe, write down every last one of the places that they have been. I want the people who are going to read this thousands of years later to understand that there was good times and there was bad times. There was places that I brought you to challenge you, okay? I brought you to places where there is nothing. I brought you to a place where bring you nothing but pain. I want you to know that I am the Elohim of realness. I'm real. I'm real. I'm for real. You understand? I'm not this imaginary God that you've been, hoping and praying that would hear you. I'm the one who understands your pains, your emotions. I understand what love is. I know what hate is. I know what carrying somebody's like. I know what a burden is like. I know what to walk means. I know what it means to see. I know what it means to hear. Hallelujah. Why? I know what it means to cry. I know what it means. Hallelujah. Why? Because I put that in you. So you would know that I know. Woo, you better hear what he's saying today. Praise be to our Elohim. Yea, where? Where did he lift his people? Hallelujah. He said he found his people in the desert country, in a howling, wasted wilderness, and he protected him. I want you to understand in our text that he's using this him, third person masculine singular, okay, that represents, he talks of his people, okay, his people as a third person masculine singular. That's why he calls us Yisrael. That's the name of our father. You understand? So he talks about Yisrael. He's talking about our father that had the 12 tribes. You understand? Okay. He had 12 tribes. And of course, he had a daughter. She's included. But here it is. He speaks of his people as a third person masculine singular. That's why he told Pharaoh to let my son, third person masculine singular. You understand? So when he talks about he protected him, he's talking about them. When he talks about I care and he cared for him. So what is Yah telling us? He's letting us know that as a group of people, as his people, he sees us as a child, like a son, one son. So the attitude, listen, the attitude of the oneness, the one person has to be unified. Like he's not saying, okay, well, you know, I like Yehuda more than I like everybody else. So guess what? I'm only going to save him. No, he's saying, I'm looking at my whole entire people, okay, as one individual. Just like I told Moshe, move out the way, let me kill him. It's about all his people, right? So Yah looks at us as one. And what is it? Why? Because Akkad is one and is unified. So in our thinking, you can't love and you can't seek to care about one individual out of a whole group. You have to care about everybody that's part of that group. You understand? Part of that entire family. All right. Someone wrote here. Okay, there. Thank you. Qua put up something for the file for everyone, so you can see that. So the idea, let me get back to this. The idea is that I want you to understand that when I see my people, I see them as one. I see them as one person. And I care about that individual that I chose out of all the people on the face of this earth. He's my firstborn son. Okay. And I guarded him. I cared for him. I protected him and I guarded him like what? Like the pupil of my eye. Okay. And like an eagle that stirs up her nest and hovers over her young, right? Spreads out her wings and takes them and carries them as she flies. Yahweh alone has led his people, and no alien Elohim was with him. He's letting us know this in this song that we went over, I think a Shabbat or two ago, where he says, write this song as a witness to the children of Israel and let them know how I feel about them and what I've done. Yah has carried his people. He's carried this son for a long time, okay? And he's still to this day carrying us, okay? And so that's important. And Nasa not only means to carry, but it also has some other meanings as well, okay? But where, as I told you, Yeremiah, who asked this? Yah said they didn't ask Aye, where's Yahweh? And look where he's bringing them to. When he mentions this word, he's mentioning a location. Okay, so what I'm going to explain to us today is that when you and I are looking for Yahweh, where is Yahweh? Aye, Yahweh. Where is Yahweh? You and I need to understand that he wants us to know where you should go to go find him. Okay. And so what he's told us is that I'm always going to let you know that I'm the one who brought us out or brought you out from the land of Mizraim, because that's where he introduces himself to us. Okay. So if you want to know Yahweh and ask where he is, then you first have to go to the place where you first got introduced to him as this people called the tribes of Israel. Okay. Because our fathers didn't know Yahweh as Yahweh. They knew him as Elyon. Okay. El Elyon. Okay. El Elyon, meaning the mighty one. Okay. That's how they knew him. And did they call him by his name, Yahweh? Yes, they did. But they didn't know him intimately by this name, because the name here represents bringing somebody out of bondage. That's why you and I, his name has been revealed to us, is because I want you to know what I did for you. Because if you don't know what I did for you, then you don't know what I'm going to do for you. Okay. So we have to ask the question, Yahweh, where is he? Well, he's the one who brought us out of Mizraim. And you know, the land of Mizraim was a place of bitterness, of Mara, and is a place of Zara. Okay. And Zara has to do with tightness, and it has to do with an enemy. Okay. Has to do with the place of a strait, squeezing and pressure that you're receiving right now. You know that you're in a place of bondage when you feel pressure, and that could be felt, financially. There's pressure on us. When you talk about politically, there's pressure on us. When you talk about the family, there's pressure. There's outside pressure and influences that are attacking us, whether you want to accept it or not. Okay. So there's pressure in the place that you and I are in, which is representative of this place called Mizraim. Okay. And he said, who led us through the desert, through a land of waste and ravines. Okay. So the two locations that he always wants a person to find out where he is, you're only going to find Yahweh in two places. And the first place that he wants Israel to find him is here in Mizraim. Because that's the question that he asked. He asked them, they didn't ask, where is Yahweh? Yahweh will be in Mizraim. That's the number one place that you need to look at. The second place that you need to look at is the desert. These are two significant places. Okay. Two. Okay. And the land of waste and ravines, through a land of drought, death, dark shadows, which those death, dark shadows, now I understand, because one of those places was called Punan. That's one of the locations they went to. And I wrote the other place down here that I told you. One was called the shadow, and the other one was like super dark. Where's it at? Desolation, Shittim, Beth. Punan was darkness, and Zalmunna. Zalmona was a place of shades too. So when he talks about, so when you look at the desert, all the parts of the desert that he had them in, there wasn't a light sunny day all the time. It was scary. You understand? For the average human being. And if you were out there today and you didn't have no light, you would be terrified. So he brought them to places where they would tremble. And some of these places that he have on here is called to tremble. Okay. But he says, no, a land where no one travels. What? Yeah, I'm going to bring you somewhere where no one ever travels. You're walking in places that nobody's ever stepped a foot. Do you hear what he's saying to us? I will take you to places where no one has ever put a foot on, because they were too terrified and it was too dark, to let you know that no matter how dark it might seem to you and how terrified you might be, understand you need to ask, where is Yahweh? Because Yahweh is with you. Hallelujah. And he says, where no one has ever lived. Oh, yes. Where are you going to find Yahweh? You're not going to find him on television. You're not going to find him in a church. You're not going to find him at no local synagogue. You're not going to find Yahweh in these places, in these so-called synagogues and places of worship. You're not going to find him there. Hallelujah. You and I are going to find Yahweh in the darkest shadows of our lives. You're going to find him in the places where, hey, there's no one here except for Yah. You're going to find him when you're thirsty and there's nothing else to drink and nobody can give you nothing. That's when you're going to find him. He's not easily accessible as you and I would like to think. Not everybody has access to the Creator. Do you understand that you and I are so special that he would take us to places that no one's ever lived and take us to places no one's ever set their foot on because they were too afraid, because that's where they'll find Yahweh. Do you remember what Elijah said? He said, well, where's Yah? He went to a cave and there was an earthquake and Yahweh wasn't in it. You understand? Yahweh he's in places where you will never, ever think. He's not where you and I think he is, okay? But you and I can find Yahweh when you and I look for him in the right places. And he's saying, you can only find me is when you find out where I took you from. You can only find me in the desert. That's the reason why you're reading the Torah portion. Because he's having us on a journey and you and I are walking right now, trying to find our Elohim, and we're finding him. Hallelujah. Praise be to the living Elohim. Hallelujah. I'm excited when I start thinking about this. So that's what Ayah is. To where can you find Yah? The next one is me. Who led them through the vast and fearsome desert? Yah did. Yeah. With poisonous snakes and scorpions and waterless, thirsty ground. Who? Who brought water out of a flint rock, the hardest rock in the desert? Who? Me. Who fed you in the desert with manna, which is bread that came from the Shamayim, unknown to your ancestors, breads that the Malachim ate? Who? You see? All while humbling and testing you in order to do you good in the end. Yahweh brought them through this journey. He's the one who did this. He brought them there in order to humble them and to test them, in order to do them good. Yah's whole purpose of bringing us to places that you and I don't necessarily want to go, okay, is to bring us to a place that at the end there will be good for us. It's going to be good for you and I. And so sometimes along the way, you're going to be in a place that's fearsome in your life, okay? The desert of the nations, okay? You're going to be around a whole bunch of, we don't have these poisonous snakes around us all the time because, we do everything we possibly can to stay away from them and they stay away from us. But I believe here that Yah's making mention of the fact that poisonous snakes is the idea of someone doing harm or something. Scorpions, I don't care what it is, it's harmful. That's what he's saying. Look at the function, okay? What else? You need water. Why? Because without it, you would die. So he's refreshing you. He's making you comfortable, okay? And he's putting food in your stomach. Yahweh will feed you and give you water. Even in the desert, even in a dark place, even in a place of fear and harm, Yah is still there. He will still be here for us, even in the place of harm. You understand? In the place of terror, Yah will be here. And he's providing this information for us because there's coming a day where there will be a tremendous amount of harm that's going to be around us. You can see it now. You can see the COVID. You can see the monkeypox. That's on the rise. You can see this food shortage that's coming. You could see the wars that are going on around us. You can see the idea of people are more easily to kill somebody right now and stab them to death. You could see how people are being morally degenerate. You understand? Harm to the family, harm to the community. So we're faced with all types of challenges. But Yah's asking who? Me, who? We know who this is. This is our Elohim. So be happy and celebrate this today. Hallelujah. That our Elohim is the one who is doing these things for us. Okay. He put the food on our table today. Aye, where? Aye yada Shimon. This is very interesting. You know, I decided, go ahead, Kwa.
I was just gonna comment on that. I went to Walmart for my my Shabbat prep, and there are shelves here in Fairfield that are starting to get a little light. There, like where the waters are and some of the cheeses, and it's coming.
Yeah, it's here. And it's going to be more prevalent as time continues on. And our safety is found in the hands of the wicked, the people who don't have a relationship. But Yah is telling us, even in the midst of that, I want to encourage you that I am going to be there for you. Okay. I am there with you. Aye, where Yada Shimon? Well, I'm introducing you to a word that you already know. Okay. Here, right here is Yad. And what is Yad? If anyone in my Hebrew knows, what is a Yad? Just say it. It's a hand. Okay. So I'm asking, where is the hand? Okay. All right. And what's the, here's the shame. Shame means what?
Name.
Name. All right. So they use the word yada to be revealed. Okay. They use the word Shimon to mean name, right? And O here means his. Okay. So his name. Okay. So Aye yada Shimon. Where is revealed his name? That's the question. Where has he revealed his name? Okay. What is a person's name from a Hebraic perspective? What does it mean?
Character.
That's what is your character. Excellent. Perfect. So your name is your character. It's the breath of you. Your hand represents your strength and it represents your work. Okay. The hand, the work of your hand. Okay. So work and strength. So Aye Yada Shimon. What we're looking for here is the strength of Yahweh's character. Now listen to this carefully. Okay. In the book of Yakeziel, what they call Ezekiel, Yah told the prophet Ezekiel, okay, Yakeziel, to speak to the children of Israel. And this is in context. I didn't put all of the verses here because it's very, very long. It's over 40 something verses. I only could take bits and pieces of it. And I put the ones that I wanted or I thought that would be, beneficial to us. And I will interject some of the other things that are said, but I want you to definitely read the chapter again. Okay. He opens this chapter or this saying with, are you going to judge the people? If you're going to judge the children of Israel, because they were asking, they wanted to inquire about Yah, like what's going to happen to us. And these individuals were in exile and they wanted to know what is going to be our fate and what is going to happen to us. Okay. They were exiles, just like you and I. And he says, well, if you're going to judge them, I need you to tell them something. Okay. So what I want you to tell them is tell them that the master of masters, that's what the word for Adonai is. Okay. It's not just master. It's master of masters. That is the perfect translation. Okay. Because Yah is the master of masters. Okay. He's in charge of, if you did have a master, Yah's in charge of that master. Okay. So the master of master, Yahweh says this, back on the day when I chose Israel, I raised my hand. Okay. So question for you is, and I'm going to clean this up so I can ask you the question because we're in class. Aye, yada. Where did Yahweh raise his hand? Where did he raise his hand? He says, tell them that the master of masters, Yahweh, says this, back on the day when I chose Israel, I raised my hand to the descendants of the house of Yaakov, which is the 12 tribes, okay? The descendants of the Yaakov, okay? I revealed myself to them in Mizraim. This word raised here is what? Nasa, to lift. So Yah lifted his hand. Give me a different color. I got orange on orange, not cool. Lift. When Yahweh lifted his hand, Okay, like a king would raise his hand and swear. When Yah raises his hand, he's saying that he swears. You understand? So in this context, when he said he raised his hands, when he nasa, he's making an oath. And so he raised his hand and he said, then that's when I revealed myself to them in the land of Mizraim. That's when I made myself known to them, is in the land of Mizraim. As I told you, there's only certain locations that Yah is really concerned with, that he wants us to be concerned with. And it's for a reason. Okay. And often we don't get the reason because we just read through it and let people, oh yeah, they went through, they came out of Egypt and then they went to the wilderness. No, there's a reason why Yah revealed himself to them in the land of Mizraim. Okay. And then he says, I raised, meaning what? Nasa, my what? My yado. Okay. Or yadi, my yadi. I raised my yadi, my hand. Yad is hand and it means my hand. I raised my hand to them, to the people of Israel, to the sons, the household of Yaakov. And I said, I am Yahweh, your power. That's what I told them. I swore to them this. Okay. So why is this here? Why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this because in our Torah portion, it talked about Nasa. And it talked about how Yah has been carrying us. And he's been carrying us from the day that we left Mitzrayim and to the time he carried us through the wilderness, even to the day that he's carrying us now. I want to bring out the fact that Yah says, I made myself known to them in the land of Mitzrayim. What did he make known to us? What did he make known to us?
His name.
His name, his Shemo. He's made known to us his character while they were in Mitzrayim, when they were in a place of what? What's Mitzrayim represent? Bondage. And what? Slavery. Why is this important for us to understand? Why?
Because we're in bondage and slavery still.
Yeah, we're in bondage and slavery. And when did you get the information about his name? I'm showing you that he revealed himself to us like he did with them in Mitzrayim. That's what I'm trying to show you, is that he revealed his name to us while you and I were in bondage. This is the reason why it was written this way. This is the reason why he's talking to these exiles, and he's telling them, if you're going to judge them, tell them, when I chose you, I chose Israel when I raised my hand to the descendants of Yaakov. I revealed myself to them in the land of Mizraim. Yah has revealed himself to us while you and I are in bondage, in captivity. I know a lot of us don't think that we're in captivity, but you are. You're in captivity. Okay. So this is where he revealed it. So Yah is revealing his name and making his name known to us right now for the sake of us to understand that I'm going to reveal myself to you while you're in your place of bondage, because I have a plan for you. I am going to be your power. I'm only revealing my name to you because I plan on doing something for you. And in that case, when he revealed his name to them, he said some things to them and let them know that, hey, I got a reason why I reveal my name. Yah doesn't reveal his name to us just for us to know his name. He doesn't reveal it to us for us just to look at it and say, oh, that's a wonderful name. It's different than the other God of the New Testament or these other gods. Yah's name has power. And so he's telling us, I'm revealing my name to you because I'm about to show you my hand. That's what I'm about to do. That's why the yada means reveal, and reveal means hand. I'm about to show my hand. I'm about to show you my strength. I'm about to show you my power. I'm about to show you the work of my hand. That's what I'm about to do. So that's the reason why I let you know my name. Okay. And he did it while they were in Mitzrayim. And he's doing it for us while you and I are in our Mitzrayim. It says, we call by many names. Can you tell us your understanding? Ask the question, Gil, so I can understand
you. We call him by many names. You talked about his names on a number of occasions and how we know his name. And I listen to a lot of different people, on social media and stuff like that. They call him this, and they call him that. Yah is the only part of it that is similar to what I've learned here.
Yes.
So, I think it's important that if we calling on his name, we're making sure that it's his name so that his power can be manifested in our lives.
Wow, I can
I
help.
would like to clear up,
Okay, I'll clear it up for us really nicely. Okay, so according to, and this is and you can go here to find out Exodus chapter number 34, verse number 6. I don't have this on slide here, but you can go there and reference it. What it talks about is Yah's character. His character, the Yod, the Hey, the Wah, the Hey. Okay. He didn't tell us how to pronunciate the name. He didn't say, call me Yehovah. He didn't say, call me Yahweh. He didn't say any of those things. He gave us 4 letters. And that's what he gave us, 4 letters. Okay. And those letters represent his character. Okay. We know, first of all, the first letter is a Yod. Right. So the first letter of his name is a Yod. Okay. The hand. That's what it means. Okay. And the second letter is a Hey. That means behold. Okay. The next letter is a Wah. Okay. And they could say it's Yehovah, Ho over here, Yehovah. Well, what's a Wah? Well, a Wah represents a tent peg. It means to join. Okay.
Yeah.
It means to make a connection. Okay. And the next letter is another Hey, which means look and behold. Okay. So according to what the book of Exodus chapter 34, verse number 6 says, Yah says that he's merciful. Okay. I got it. My spelling is wrong, man. What's wrong with my spelling? Merciful. He says he's full of grace. He's full of truth. He says that he's compassionate. He says that I forgive sins and transgressions. He says, but I won't acquit the wicked, yet not exonerating the guilty. I'm not going to exonerate the guilty, but I'm going to pass on the punishment of the parents to the children to the 3rd and 4th generations of those who hate me. Okay. But in Yah's name is found this mercy, grace, and truth. And I always try to explain that the grace and the mercy and the truth is Yah has showed himself to be gracious and compassionate by revealing himself to us. That's what's found in his name. Him rescuing us, it means that I'm showing you compassion and I'm showing you mercy and I'm showing you grace. Deuteronomy chapter number 30 says the Yah is merciful and he will not forget the promise that he made. So based upon his name alone, okay, has deliverance in it. It doesn't specifically right there says, oh, I'm gonna deliver. It's deliverance. It doesn't say that. It's the idea behind the deliverance, which is the mercy and the grace. That's my name. My name is the merciful one. My name is the gracious one. My name is the one who's full of truth. My name is the one who will not let the guilty go free. Okay. So I revealed my name to your ancestors in Mitzrayim. Your Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov did not understand me by this name. They didn't have that relationship with me. I didn't have to save them from bondage. And, I didn't have to bring them out with signs and wonders. I didn't have to split open the Red Sea and kill all their enemies. I didn't have to feed them with manna, because remember we just read earlier, he said, your ancestors didn't even know the food that you ate. So this relationship with us has been a definite revelation of who Yah is. Okay. So the revelation of who he is found within his name, meaning I will save you. So when someone says Yehovah or Yahweh or Yahweh or any of those things, that's fine. That's their pronunciation. He's talking about what is my character of my name, And so, and overall, the true meaning of this, the actual root of his name is this root right here called Hawa. And Hawa means to exist. That's what it means. That's what it means, to exist.
Thank you.
So when you put the Yod here, it means he exists. Because Hawa means to exist. Okay. So what is he saying? I exist as what? As your grace. I exist as what? Your mercy. And when you see it, okay, I don't want you to believe it. Don't believe nothing. I want you to see it. I want you to see my salvation. I don't want you to believe. I'm not going to kill somebody and tell you, hey, believe that they died. That's weak. That's totally weak. I want you to see it. Did Israel see when he killed their enemies, all the Mitzrayim who were chasing after them? Did they see that? Yes. Did they see him open up the Red Sea, the Sea of Suf? Yes. And the name of Sea of Suf means the place of ceasing, to come to an end, to be fulfilled. Yah's salvation is in the destruction of our enemies and those who try to harm us. That's how special we are. Praise be to Yahweh. Hope that answers your question. Who cares what they call him? Is if they understand the function of his name. Hallelujah. So Yah has said, Aye, where did this happen? God says, on the day that I raised Nasati, again, we've seen that word Nasa, that T means I, Nasati, my hand, meaning I swore to them, I pledged to them to bring them out. I made a promise to bring them out of the land of Mizraim into a land that I have reconnoitered for them, a land flowing with milk and honey. That reconnoitered means to seek out, to search out, and to go and tour out, right? To discover for them the most beautiful of all lands. I told them, who your ancestors. Each of you is to throw away your detestable things that draws your eyes. Don't defile yourselves with the idols of Mizraim. I am Yahweh, your power. So again, I raised my hand and I told them that I'm going to bring them out. I swore to them, but I asked them. So in our journey that you and I saw over our Torah portion, when he had these 42 different locations, he doesn't tell us the story about what he said to them when the first location they were at. He told them to get rid of their idols. And guess what they did? Where? I told them to get rid of them in Mizraim. So I had them leave the land of Mizraim. And before this, I didn't put it in here, but he says I was going to destroy them. Because guess what they didn't do? They did not get rid of their idols while they were in Mizraim. They kept them. So the revelation of Yahweh's name to us is for us to know that I'm going to bring you out of your place. That's what I'm promising to do. Like I promised them I'm going to bring them out. I'm promising you that I'm going to bring you out. I asked you to leave your idols where you are. That's the reason why I revealed myself to you right now. Okay. So I revealed myself to them. I told them to get rid of their idols and they didn't. I was going to kill them, but I didn't because of the sake of my own name, my reputation, my Shemka. I didn't want anybody to profane my name by saying, oh, you just brought him out here to kill him. So what I did is I brought them out of the land of Mizraim and I brought them into the desert. Okay. I brought them out to the Bamidbar. And when I brought them there, I gave them my kukim and I showed them my mishpatim. And if a person obeys them, he will have life through them. That's the reason why Yah has decided to give us the what? The kukim, the mishpatim, and the Shabbats. Because he revealed himself to us. So the difference between them and us is he says that they're in Mizraim and I brought them out to the desert. And then I gave them my laws. Well, Yah says, I'm going to do something different now. I'm going to reveal myself to the descendants of the house of Yaakov while they're still in their captivity. And just like I asked the old group to get rid of their idols and they didn't, I'm asking this new group, get rid of your idols. But I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to, say, well, I'm not going to kill them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see if they're going to get rid of their idols while they're still in Egypt. I'm not going to bring them out until I feel like doing so. And when I do bring them out, then we're going to do something different. That's what Yah is trying to show us about this journey. Okay. Because Ezekiel 20 is talking about the journey that he had with them from his perspective. He's letting us know from the beginning, they wouldn't get rid of their gods. From the beginning, I made myself known to them. From the beginning, I gave them my kukim, the mishpatim. From the beginning, I gave them my Shabbats. Okay. So I brought them out here. I brought them out to a place of isolation. I brought them out to a place where I can develop their character, and I gave them this. And so this Shabbats will be assigned between me and them so that they would know that I am Yahweh, so that they would know that I, Yahweh, am the one who makes them Kodosh. So it's the Mishpatim, it's the Kukim, and it's the Shabbats that make us Kodosh. You understand? So Yah says, I've done that for them, right? Well, what did they do? They did something different. And he's bringing this to our attention because he's talking to exiles that are in exile. He says, but the house of Israel rebelled against me in the desert. You see? So I didn't kill him in Egypt. So I brought him out to the wilderness, and then I gave him what I gave him, and the Kukim and the Mishpatim, and guess what they did? They rejected it. It says that they did not live, and that word live right there in the Hebrew is called halak, and that means to walk. So your life and how you live your life is the way you walk in your life. It's the steps that you take and the places that you go. That's what your life is. Your life is where you attend, where you walk, and where you live, and where you go to work. Every place where you step your foot, that's your life. So life is walking through a journey. You understand? But you and I have to choose to walk by the kukim. We don't have to be like them. We don't have to reject the mishpatim. He says, which if a person does keep these things, you'll have life. You'll be able to continue to walk the halak. You'll be able to continue to have a life. Okay. And he says, moreover, they greatly profane my Shabbats. And then I said, I will pour out my fury on them in the desert in order to destroy them. And this is not just one occasion, there's several occasions. We knew about the occasions where they did certain things to make him upset, where he says, move out the way and let me kill him. He never told us it was because they profaned my Shabbats and had no regard and rejected my kukim and mishpatim. It never mentions that through our journey of the book of Bamidbar. He never mentions that. Here he's expressing it at the time to the exiles to give them a clue about what the journey was really like. What was the real halak? What was the way that they were walking before me? Yah knows us, and he knows if you and I are going to walk in his ways. He knows if we're going to ma'as, if we're going to reject what he says, and meaning not to have any type of consideration. Okay. He then says, Ani Yahweh, meaning I am Yahweh. That's what Ani means. Ani Yahweh. I am Yahweh. And I want you to know something. I want you to yada something. However, I spared them. That means I showed love. That word spare means I show love and care and compassion. That's sparing. It doesn't mean, well, I'm just going to spare them. I loved them and I showed them compassion and from complete destruction. I killed some of them, but I didn't kill all of them. I did not completely finish them off in the desert. I didn't. I said to their children in the desert, don't live, don't halak, don't walk by the kukim of your fathers. So there is a whole different kukim that they had. You know, we use the word kukim and say, okay, that's the Hebrew name. But Yah told us in the Torah or in the words here of Yekaziel that they had their own kukim. So kukim is just a word that expresses a decree or a statute. And so you can see that you can have a kukim and he has his own kukim. Your grandfather has his own way of doing things. Your grandmother had her own way of doing things. Their parents had their own way of doing things. He told them, don't walk and don't live by the kukim of your fathers. Don't observe the mishpatim, not the direction and the so-called way of traditions. He said these are rulings. You see, so the parents had a different way of thinking. He says, don't defile yourselves with their idols. They still had their idols. They still had their idols while they were with Yahweh. Ani Yahweh. I am Yahweh. You're Yahweh. I am Yahweh. You're Yahweh. I am the one who will make you live. He says, live, walk by my kukim, my mishpatim, and obey them and guard my Shabbats. That's what I'm asking you to do. I don't want you to be like your ancestors, because the journey that they had with me was not one that was good, but I spared them. That's what I did for them. I spared them from complete destruction. The reason why you and I are here today is because Yah was spared. He showed some love and he showed compassion, man. Okay. He showed compassion. You see, he's a loving Elohim. And he says, guard my Shabbats, which are kadosh, and they will be a sign. That's what it is. So today, Yah says this will be the oath, because that's what a sign is. It's an oath between me and you, so that you would know. So you would yada, you know that I need Yahweh, your Elohim, your power. So only way that you know that Yah is Yah, that he is Yahweh, I need Yahweh, is by us doing what Yahweh says. If you don't do what he says, you're denying his existence as Yahweh. That's what he's saying, because that's what his name means. His name means the self-existing one. I'm the one who exists. I'm the one who gives life to everything. So if you deny me, okay, and the only way you can fully know me and the only way I can be revealed to you is when you do what I say. That's when I'm real. I'm real when you keep the Mishpatim. I'm real when you follow the Kukim. I'm real when you keep the Torah. I'm real when you keep the Shabbats. You're saying that, and because you said that, I'm going to spare you. I'm going to have compassion on you because you're showing me that you love me. Because those that love me do what I say. But your ancestors didn't do that. So I warned their children. And I told them, listen, don't do like your parents. Don't live like them. Don't do it. And what do? What did they do?
They live like their parents.
Yes, they rebelled. They rebelled against me. So instead of me killing them too, I raised my hand, Nasati. I swore, okay, to them in the desert that I would scatter them, who? The children, among the nations and disperse them through the countries because they hadn't obeyed my mishpatim, but what Maseh, they rejected, had no consideration for my kukim, and they profaned my Shabbats. And we're talking about this journey. We're talking about this walk that they had. And he says, and their eyes turned toward their father's idols. They never got rid of them. Never. Why? Where? Aye. Where? In the wilderness. I also gave them kukim that did them no good, and mishpatim that which they did not live. All because Yahweh would give a person the kukim and the mishpatim doesn't mean that they're going to live by it. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that you're automatically going to fall in line with it because you just received the mishpatim and kukim. I can tell you that I know individuals right now that have heard the kukim, heard the mishpatim, have celebrated the moedim, and they still won't do what Yahweh says. Still. But Yahweh's raised his hand. This is the journey that you and I weren't told about. Okay. This is his side of the story. This is why he's telling us this. But he has a Na'um. The Na'um is, as I mentioned to you, the declaration. This is a prophetic declaration that Yah is expressing, and he's telling us what it's going to be in the future. Okay. And if it hasn't happened yet, it's still a Na'um, and it's going to come to pass in the Akarat Hamayim. Listen to what Yahweh says. This is a Na'um. This is not him just saying, it's him prophetically. Often the prophets would say, Yahweh said, Amar Yahweh, or Ko Amar Yahweh, or why do better Yahweh, or Yahweh's why do better Yahweh the El Moshe. Yahweh said to Moshe, saying, here it's a Na'um. And this Na'um right here is a Na'um of Mishpat, a Na'um of a declaration of judgment, because this is how this chapter, this portion of the scripture opens up with. Are you going to judge them? So as I live, okay, Na'um says, God says in English, Na'um, master of masters, Yahweh, I swear, I'm raising my hand, that surely with the mighty hand and the stretched out arm and poured out fury, I myself will be king over you. I will bring you out from the peoples and gather you from out of the countries where you were scattered. I promise you that with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm will pour out fury. When I came and got your ancestors, I didn't pour it on any fury. I didn't pour no fury out, but this time I'm going to. Then I will bring, that I will right there is I will exist. When I talk about I will, that means I will exist to bring you into the desert of the peoples and judge you face to face. You and I are going back out to the desert. We're not going out to the desert to receive. Listen, you're not going back out to the desert to go over everything all over again. You and I are going out to the desert to be judged, the mishpat. When Yah brings us out to the desert, he's going to be sitting. Mishpat means judge. When Yah brings us out to the desert, he's bringing us out there to judge us face to face. Remember, he said, all those who hate me, I will repay you to your face. This is not to make to say, well, let's just work through this, and then you and I can get together, and I know that you made some mistakes. No, That's not what it is. He says, I just as I judged your ancestors in the desert of the land of Mizraim, so I will judge you. This is the reason why he brought them to the desert. This is the reason why he brought them to the desert. This is the reason why he shared with us 42 different locations. This is why he told us about every single thing that they did in the desert. This is the reason why he told us that they rebelled against him in the desert. This is the reason why he told us that there was comfort in the desert. This is the reason why he said, I was a light to them in the desert. Just like I did them, I'm going to judge you the same way. No'um, master of masters, Yahweh. You're going to get it the same way. And how did he judge him out there? Well, according to what he's been saying in Ezekiel 20, he said all the times when I was going to kill them, completely destroy them, I didn't because other people were watching. So now I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do differently. I'm bringing you back out there. This is your destiny. This is your designation. Your designation is to ride back in the desert. Aye, where? I'm going to bring you out to the desert so you can do this Masereth, okay? So you can keep and bring you into the obligations of the covenant. That word Masereth right there was one of the locations that Yahweh brought them to. Go back and read in chapter number 34, I believe, where it talks about, or 33 and 34, we talks about where he brought them, and this is one of the places that he brought them. He uses the same word, Masereth, as a location, and this means to bind, as in prison, okay, to lock you in, okay? So what he's saying is, I will make you pass under the crook. The crook is the shepherd's staff, and bring you into the obligations, bring you into the what? The binding of our contract. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring you there to lock you in to what you and I made an agreement to. I'm not there to say, do you want to keep the obligations of the covenant? I'm going to hold you responsible because you're bound. As we did in our Torah portion the week before, our words is what bound us. His words that he spoke to us has binded us to this covenant. When you and I said, I'll do everything you said, you and I bound ourselves. You can't just say nothing to the king of the universe and think you're going to walk away. It's not going to happen. Now that I'm going to bring you into that, I'm not bringing you to see if you want to keep it. This is, you're already part of it. And when you get there, I'm going to rid you of the rebels. I'm getting rid of the individuals of the rebels who are with you. They could be in your own house. I'm getting rid of them. Who are what? They had here revolt, who are in revolt against me. Guess what the correct translation is revolting. It's an ing. It's a participle. It means that they are currently revolting against me. So you're not going to have an opportunity to get your act together when he comes and gets us. And then all of a sudden you try to get straight on the day that everything's happened. Now you want to cry out. That's not going to happen. Your revolt against Yahweh is following the ways of the gods that you serve, the attitudes that you took, and the behaviors of our ancestors that have gone on from generation to generation to generation to say that you could do something and you think you're going to get away with it. You're not going to get away with it. I will bring them out from the land where they're living. I'm going to come and get you. You don't have to move to Africa. I'm going to come and get you. But they will not enter the land of Israel. Who? Those who are revolting currently against me. How are they revolting against him? According to everything we read in context, is those who don't want to keep and guard the Kukim and the Mishpatim. Those who want to profane the Shabbat day, you're revolting against me. Any word that I've spoken and you had some other exception to the rule because you were reading something in the New Testament and you thought in your mind. Yah wants you to use your mind, but he wants you to understand that you have to put that mind that you have under his authority, because he told us, I will be king over you. These rebels, these people who are revolting against him right now, currently, today, present tense, will not enter the land of Israel. And then he says something that's very chilling. then you will know that I'm Yahweh. Then you will know. This is when you will yada. This is when you will experience. This is when it's going to be revealed to you that when I say something, I mean what I say. So any rebel that's revolting against me right now, understand, you will not go into the land of Israel. You will not see it. Just like our ancestors have revolted against him and refused to go in. Just like Moshe in Aharon failed to magnify and show Yahweh's glory about who he is. He's not asking us. Listen to me carefully. Yah is holding us to a higher standard and saying, if you cannot show my holiness among the people, and I revealed myself to you while you were in Mitzrayim, I am not going to be any different towards you than I was with your ancestors, except for the fact I'm going to give you an opportunity in Mitzrayim now. The only reason I'm bringing you out to the desert is just to judge you. I'm not bringing you out there so you can have another 40-year stint of me trying to convince you, because I already been down that road. I already told you and your children, and nobody listened to me. They rebelled against me. No one asked, where is Yahweh? Where is he? Where's the one who brought us out of Mitzrayim? Where is the Torah of Yahweh? Where is it? He said, you've abandoned me, and because you've abandoned me, you're going to feel and understand and experience how bitter it's going to be, how mara it's going to be for you to abandon me. You don't think Yah has an expectation on us because we are in the United States of America or with some other part of the world, or because he scattered us? He says, your own crimes have done this. I know what your wound is. But you worship who you want to worship. You worship the God of your fathers, and I'm going to deal with you when I bring you out to the wilderness. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to speed up. Part of our Torah portion, Yah mentions in 35, you are not to accept a ransom in lieu of a life of a murderer condemned to death. Rather, he must be put to death. And he goes on to tell us that the blood of the one who shed it is the one whose blood need to be shed. Why? Because if you shed this blood, you defiled the land. He gives a list of different things that tells us that if a person kills somebody on an accident, they have a right to a trial. Okay. But if that person previously hated them, they're going to be put to death. They're going to be put to death. They have to. So what is he telling us? Be careful. Be careful. This is a kukim, a kuka, or a mishpatim. This is something that Yah has spoken to them. I have over here the Jesus Christos, the son of Theos. This is the idol, the Baal that we used to serve. Okay, that we thought that loved us. Okay, listen to what he allegedly said, or what happened. Do you know that this alleged person, because alleged means there's no actual proof. There's no evidence. There is no evidence whatsoever that this person existed. There's not written in any contemporaneous writings. No one. There's no record. Only what they would call the writings of the Greek Testament. And everything, I'm using their names that are in their book. This is their God here. That's not your Elohim. That's not your power. This is the name of this guy, Christos, okay? In its original text. I don't care if they come along and say, well, his name is really this in Hebrew. I don't care if they come around and say, well, this is his name in English. I don't care whatever they say, this is his name. And here's the proof. If I said Abraham's name in his original language, it is Avraham. That's what it is. And guess what it's going to be in any other language? Avraham. If we saw him today and we called him and he said, what's your name? He would say, my name is Avraham. You see, that's his name, Avraham. He wouldn't change it. You understand? So this guy here, Jesus Christos, this alleged person, he was given in lieu of a convicted murderer. Why am I mentioning this? Because the Torah tells us that anybody who committed the murder is the person who's supposed to die for the murder that they committed. This guy, this alleged person, was given in lieu of a convicted murderer. This convicted murderer's name was called Barabbas. Barabbas. How do you spell this guy's name? Okay, Barabbas. Okay, was a convicted murderer. So our Elohim would not exchange this person for another murderer. So that invalidates the redemption of course, the whole world. This is not something, this is something that Theos, the God of the New Testament, would allow. He would allow an innocent person, so-called, to die for a murderer. And then the murderer gets to walk off free. This is the reason why our people are deceived to this day. And this is the reason why they do the things that they do, because the God that they serve, this God right here, allows them to give something in lieu of their crime. And our Creator, right, Yahweh, says that I am not going to let the murderer or the wicked go. Allegedly, he also did something. He offered eternal life to a criminal on the cross who is being put to death for their crime. You see? So these ideas are something that have nothing to do with our Elohim and our way of life. These are what you would call the Greek ideas and the philosophy and the wisdom of the Greeks, in total opposition to what our Creator has said. Christos said this allegedly, and you can find this in the book of Lucas, which is a third-party person. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and his mother, his wife and his children, his brothers, his sisters, yes, and his own life besides, he cannot be my Talmud. He can't be my student. He can't be my follower. This is what this alleged Christos Jesus said. That anybody comes to him has to hate their father. What did Yahweh tell us about our father and mother?
To love them, honor them.
Honor them. That's what Yah says. So our Creator tells us to honor. This guy says hate. He tells you to hate your children. He tells you to hate your brothers and your sisters. He says to even hate your own life. Hate yourself. That's what he's saying. Otherwise, you cannot be his student. Well, if that's the case, I don't want to be your student. I don't want to be your follower. Talmud is from that word Talmud. Okay. The Tav, of course, as I told you, means you. In Hebrew, that's what the Tav is. Okay. The Lamad, which is the Lamed, and then the M and the D, those three letters right there means learn or to be a student. Okay. That's what it means to be a student, to learn. So a Talmud is a student and a Talmud is a student. It's the same thing. You understand? And of course, the Ashkenaz says if you don't follow their Talmud, you can't be a student, and you're not going to be part of their group as well. Okay. So I want to show you a difference, though, between the hate that they're talking about and the hate that Yah says. Because hate is something, but the hate that they have here is not Saneh. It's not Saneh. This is a different type of hate. This is a Greek hate. This is a not, and this hate right here says not to love, no love. Okay. That's what it means, not to love. So there's a difference because he allegedly said that. And guess what? There's no evidence and no proof that this was even said because it's by a third party person. He uses this next word over here that I'm going to bring you through is this word that you've heard all your life, and they call it hell. The Gehinnom. Okay, this is a Greek word. Okay, and they got the word hell. Has anyone ever heard hell used in the Torah or the Tanakh? No, no, there is, you understand, there's a Sheol, but there is no fire Gehenna. Okay. This is a Greek concept. Allegedly, it's been said that you have heard that your fathers were told, and this is from Jesus again. Do not murder. Okay. He said our fathers were told. Well, who told our fathers that you should not murder? The Creator told that on Mount Sinai. Okay. Then he says that if anyone who commits murder will be subject to judgment. Right? Mishpatim. Okay. Sounds good. But I tell you that anyone who nurses anger against his brother, okay, they got their word anger, but it's really hatred, okay, will be subject to judgment, to be put to death as well. That whoever calls his brother you good for nothing will be brought before the Sanhedrin, the judgment, and whoever says fool incurs the penalty of burning in hell. If you call somebody a fool, then you're going to hell. Guess what? A fool is a kasel, and guess what? How many times have Yah says to stop acting foolish and stop being a fool? There are fools. Shlomo called people fools. David called people fools, right? Yah has called his people foolish, right? He's asking us to turn. This guy says, hey, you're going to hell. Different concepts. But I want us to explain this then. What is masane? What is sane? What is hatred? And we talked about it earlier this week. What do you guys remember about it? What is sane? I showed you a picture of a thorn. What does it mean?
Protection.
Protection, yes. And it means distance. It doesn't mean that I'm not gonna love you. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to embrace you. It doesn't mean that. It means that I'm going to put some distance between us. Okay. That's what it is. And often the people that are the ones hating are the ones who are putting distance between them and someone else. He says, if a man has two wives, listen what this says. This is found in Devarim 21. This is the words of the living Elohim. If a man has two wives, one beloved and the other hated. Okay. There's distance. And they have borne him children, both of them beloved, both the beloved and the hated. Excuse me. I should read it properly. Forgive me. I'll start over. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both of them, okay, both the beloved and the hated. And if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated. Meaning, I can't put the son of the one that I love over the one that I hate. Whoever's born first gets that right as the firstborn, which indeed is the firstborn. He shall acknowledge the son of the hated. Okay. For the firstborn, by giving him a double portion of all that he hath, for he is the beginning of his strength, because that's what a firstborn is. So in context, does Yah know that there's going to be some dislike and there's going to be some distance between a husband and a wife?
Yes.
Yes, he knows that. And he knows that a man, and doesn't give a reason why. Okay. And I want to be clear. Sometimes we put it out there like she had to be a bad wife. That's why he hates her. That's not true. That's not true. Some men are just weird and they just find a reason to hate, dislike somebody for whatever reason. Does Yah want us to hate? Does he want us to take this position of saying, put some distance? No, but he knows that that's what it's going to be. Okay. And where did we get it from? Where did we get this idea of putting separation? Right? We get it from the fact that that's just human nature. That's what it is. Okay. But it came from somewhere, and I'm going to show you where it comes from. Okay. So according to what this Jesus or this Jesus character says that, their hatred is different. I want you to hate somebody. I'm telling you to hate. Okay. If you want to be part of my crew. That's not what he's saying here. Yah is saying if a person has this wife that he just doesn't like or doesn't care for whatever reason, he can't deny the firstborn son of his rights, even in that situation. So my question is saneh, is hatred a personal choice? What would you answer?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Saneh is a personal choice. That man can choose to hate his wife or he could choose to love her. He can choose that. Yah has given us the opportunity to choose. So Yahweh, this is what Dawid said. Melech Dawid said, Yahweh, how I hate those who hate you. I feel such disgust with those who defy you. I saneh them that with unlimited saneh. I put distance. They have become my enemies too. Right? But I thought in the New Testament, the Greek writers told you not to hate your enemies. You understand? So there's some contradictions here, but it's not on our part, it's on their part. You understand? The Melech HaKavod is our creator. Listen what he says. He says, I love you, says Yahweh. But you ask, well, how do you love? How do you show your love? Yahweh answers, Esau was Yaakov's brother. Yet I loved Yaakov, but Saneh Esau. See? So hatred is a personal choice, and it was given to us. Yah has put it in us for the purpose of what? For protection and to put space. Yah says, I made his mountains desolate, and I gave his territories to desert jackals. I'm putting some space between us. He doesn't care for me and he doesn't consider me, so why should I consider him? You see? So that's from your creator. That's from the Melech HaKavod, the King of Glory. The King of Glory, he also says this. I have abandoned my house, meaning the house of Yerushalayim. I have rejected my heritage, which is Israel. I have given my heart's beloved over to the hands of her foes. For me, my heritage has become like a lion in the forest. She roared out against me. So now I hate her. Hate who? My heritage. You see? So we get this message from Yah that in context, he's talking about his heritage, Israel, has turned on him. And instead of being with him, they're against him. They're roaring against him and his ways. And he says, I hate her. You see? So now do you see? It could be for a variety of reasons. Why does Yah hate her? But is he going to hate her forever? No, because he tells us that I'm going to what? Bring my heritage back. So we see that hatred is not something that hate could be there, but hate can actually be removed. Saneh could be present. And Saneh is present when it's appropriate. When Dawid said, I hate those that hate you, the moment that those individuals decided that they didn't want to hate Yahweh no more, do you know that Dawid would love him? Did you know that after his crimes against the Most High and his adultery, he said that I will teach the wicked people your way so that they won't commit the sin that I've committed? The idea of us not having hatred and try to pretend and be religious to say that it doesn't exist is denying of the fact that it does exist, and that Saneh is appropriate for different things. It's appropriate for protection, like we saw with the shepherd guarding the sheep and putting that around them, putting the thorn bushes around. It's also there to protect us against that which brings harm to us. It's also there to create an environment. You know, when you say they might take it that I hate people, my family might say I hate them. Why? Because I isolate myself from the things that I believe that can cause me harm. I put a framework around me. I put a wall around me to keep myself away from that which is bad. But his Talmud, the ones who are his students, listen what this guy says. This is the idea behind the Greek writings. This is one of his students. He said, everyone who hates his brother is a murderer. So the man who has a wife that he doesn't like, for whatever reason, that he's just whatever, could be for legitimate reasons too. Well, let me make that clear. You could hate your wife because your wife is not doing what she's supposed to do. You could despise her because you asked her to make you, not make sure she don't put this in your food and she keep putting it in there and she just doesn't listen to what you say. You could hate her for that. You could say, I want to put some distance. I can't wait to get rid of her. So you go get you another wife. Why? Why? Because I don't like the way that she's treating me. You see? So Yah leaves that open to the individual. You see? He leaves it up to us. Yah can choose anybody he wants to. He can. He could actually say, I want to get rid of you, but he won't because he made a covenant. So that is giving us encouragement to say, hey, I made a covenant. Yah made a covenant with us. He didn't break his covenant with us. So why should I break my covenant? Won't I be more like the creator and not break my covenant? Yeah, someone's doing something to really irritate me. Well, why should I break my covenant? Why should I stop loving and having compassion? It's not that it's not going to be there anymore. It means that I'm withholding it right now. So my point is that Saneh may exist, but it doesn't mean it is forever. It can change when the situation changes. But this guy right here, these Greek writings, this Talmud, okay? Everyone who hates his brother is a murderer. And you know that no murderer has eternal life in him. So they're selling eternal life. And they're keeping you from hatred. They're keeping you from hating your enemy. They're keeping you from hating the people who have done you wrong. So it takes down your wall of protection. Thank you, Yered, for bringing that out. Saneh is that wall of protection. It's a thorn bush. It goes around something. So what they've done is they said, you know what? We don't want you. So here it is. So what we're going to do is you can't have this wall anymore. Okay. You can't have this wall of protection. Because if you got that wall of protection, that means that we can't expose ourselves. That means the enemy can get to you. Do you see the difference between a Hebrew mind and a Greek mind? The Greek mind is saying, let me just give you a better example.
It's abstract.
Yeah, exactly. It's abstract. So here it is. Okay. So they're on the outside, okay? And we're on the inside. We're inside this box, okay? That's you, okay? And the box around you is Yahweh's laws, statutes, and commandments, and Shabbats, and all these things, okay? Mishpatim, Torah, all that. Just guards you. Yah putting it up there, okay? These people, and guess what? You do hate those, okay? Saneh is this wall. It's hate, okay? That's around you to protect you, okay? You have to hate certain things, people. We're commanded to hate evil. That's found in the book of Tehillim, Psalms. David told us, hate evil, hate it, okay? Hatred is required in order for you to protect yourself. Listen to me carefully. This wall that you have around yourself is there to protect you. What they're doing is they're saying, we want to get rid of your wall. We don't want you to hate, because as soon as you take that wall away, then it's just you. And then you can have all the different forces of the Greek writings come to you. You can have people to abuse you. You're not going to say anything. You're going to pray for somebody that slaps you in your face, somebody that robs you and attacks you from this direction. You're not going to say anything. Your wife can cheat on you. You won't say anything. You'll forgive her, go back to sleep with her, and then you go sleep with someone else. Someone robs you. Instead of you, taking action, right, and protecting yourself, no, just let them have it. You're not doing anything. You're being attacked from all different types of places. You see, you're unprotected. So Saneh should be used for protection. Okay. And the hatred that you and I have to have is the same hatred that David had as against the individual. Yes, Rokwa.
I was just sitting here thinking of how deep this is, because if we think about it, Christianity and what's been taught to us has taught us to love our enemies, right? And to take down that wall and that hedge of protection. So we've been walking around in a society that we've been trying to love, which we should be really trying to hate. And because the wall of protection is the Torah. And once we start keeping the Torah, we start seeing the vast difference in how our life should be and how we were living under our captives.
Yes. Yeah. And how could you not? I mean, everyone's okay as long as you're 3/5 of a human being. They're okay with that. They're okay with you being chattel. That's what they're okay with. They're okay with you being a commodity. The moment that you say that I don't want to be 3/5, you want to be whole, right? You want wholeness, because that wholeness means not only but shalom, but it means shalom. Shalom means to be paid. So they want to hand you $350,000 and tell you that it's all good now. That's what's on the table. $350,000 for each so-called African-American, descendant from a slave. And then you'll take that $350,000, right? And you'll spend that $350K in their economy. They're going to get their money right back. And they're going to tax you, and they're still going to kill you, and they're still going to throw you in prison. And you're still going to be 3/5 of a human being. See, nobody wants to talk about that. Everyone's okay as long as I stay quiet and I don't say anything. You understand? So, and then if you have any hatred, then you won't get eternal life then. That's what you've been taught for thousands of years. And that's because of the God of the New Testament teaches this to his people. And so these ideas and these words right here, these teachings, because that's what Talmud is, it's a teaching, is going to be laced into the minds and woven into the brain of your child. And they're going to grow up and they're going to do the same thing. They're going to have their guard down too. And what does Yah tell us about his laws? He tells us to guard my ways, guard the commandments. But see, this other thing, these other people, these Greeks, you don't have to guard anything. You could take somebody's life, and it's okay. It's no problem. So always end up with what's next. What's next for us as a people? Where should we go from here? Knowing the path that we've been on, knowing that Yah has revealed himself to us for the sake of letting us know his mishpatim and kukim and the Torah and the Moedim and the Shabbats, even though we may know those Hebrew names, and we may say that we could keep some of them, and we try to. If there's a heart that's in us that is not willing to guard what Yahweh says and to get rid of the ideas, when he says get rid of the God, you think the God is a statue. That's what you think. It's not, it's a mindset. You got to get rid of the mindset, because the mindset tells you how to behave and tells you your attitudes, as you read in Jeremiah. Because that's why the question is, where is Yah? Where Ayeh Yahweh? Where's the Elohim that brought us out of Mitzrayim? Meaning, where's the one who secured us and brought us and took care of us? He said, you guys are not asking that. You're not asking where's the Torah. The Kohanim who had the Torah, they're not asking that. No one's asking these questions. Well, we're on a path, and our destiny, listen, is to go back to the land. But some of us, our destination is going to end right back at the desert. And they're going to die there. Because he didn't kill them, like he said in all the different times. I raised my hand, but for the sake of my reputation, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Now he says, if you're going to judge him, tell him what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring them back to the desert. So you and I have an opportunity right now to get rid of your idols, get rid of your ideas, get rid of your mindset, get rid of your rebellion, get rid of all the things that you have been doing. And Yah is expecting this from us. Nobody wants to tell us that, oh, you're Israel, you're Israel. So you're good to go. You're one of the chosen people. You're the holy seed. You're the royal seed of Yahweh. Without ever telling us that there's a certain expectation as for our people and for our manner of life and our conduct. And the thing about it is, Yah has revealed himself to us to let us know that I'm going to come and get you. And when I come and get you, me and you're not going to have a conversation about anything except for why didn't you do what I told you? When you get to the wilderness, the judgment face to face, because those who are still revolting against me. That means that if he says that I'll bring you out to the wilderness and those who are revolting against me, it should tell you something. It should tell you that if he's going to judge, just think about this. If he's going to do the mishpatim, and he's going to sit as judge for the individuals who have, who are revolting. How is it possible that they're revolting? How is that possible? That means that revolting against Yahweh is possible. And it means that if he says they're revolting against me, that means that they had an opportunity not to revolt. When they're in the nations that they're in. So all these rabbis And you know who I'm talking about. And all these ministers and all these mores and all these people telling you that you can do whatever you want to do and don't worry about it until you get to the land, they're a liar. And I'll call it straight to their face. Straight to their face, you're a liar. Is the fact that you're giving people a false hope. Well, they didn't know. They didn't know. So God doesn't expect anything from them. They didn't know. Well, why is he killing the rebels? Why are they not entering the land? Where are they rebelling at? They're rebelling in the lands that he scattered them to. So this whole journey, this whole time that we've been away from Yah has been a punishment, but also too, it's a time for us to get back on the path and to halak and to walk in the way that he asked us, and to stop walking contrary to what he said. That's our journey. And ultimately, our destiny depends on how you and I walk today. It depends on how you and I walk today. And if you and I turn from the left or to the right, in any type of way, you and I can't turn. You and I cannot turn. You and I cannot turn. There's no wiggle room inside of the Torah. I'm just telling you, there is no wiggle room. There is no wiggle room. He tells you and I, do not go from the left or to the right from what I said. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do not turn from the left or to the right. Any questions? Any contributions? Any remarks? Azanya, Akoti.
Shabbat Shalom. Can I be heard?
Yes, you can.
Okay, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful lesson. It was really, really thick. It was just really, really wonderful. I just wanted to make a quick comment about Saneh, about hate. This week I was working on a poem for the publication, and it was on Levittown, what happened in Levittown in the late 50s. And it was loosely based on some of our happenings, really, Deuteronomy 28 and 25, I guess, where the Most High just talks about how he was going to make us troublesome to all nations, and a byword. And it was this little old family, just this a young brother, his wife, and their small daughter, and they were moving into this little 900 square foot row home in Levittown, PA, and the whole red-faced town shows up to throw glass, metal, everything they can at them for moving into this, buying a house in their neighborhood. And I don't know, and how the Most High just said, because we did not obey him, the affliction that he was going to put on us. And I don't know, it just was, I don't know, it was just so, when I was watching the film of it, and I was just looking and I was seeing the level of the hate that people had towards us, I just couldn't understand how we couldn't see all the time that it wasn't supernatural. Wow. I just never understood it. And it just seems that things are changing, that now that hate seems to be upon people that have hated us, and the power of the Most High is just absolutely incredible, and it seems like the only choice that we really have ever had is to serve him or not. And I just wanted to make one more comment about what you call a Nahum, N-E apostrophe U-M.
Uh-huh.
And that would be, I guess, Isaiah 10 and 20, about the remnant. A remnant shall return, and the destruction decreed shall overflow with righteousness. And that's what I took from that. I just written that in my notes. And I just wanted to thank you again for another beautiful lesson. I'm learning so much. And I just thank the Most High for these Shabbat classes. So all praises to the Most High. Thank you so much, brother. Okay.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Awesome. Yeah, we're learning, and we're on this path, and we're walking with Yah, and he's showing us that I've told your ancestors, and I'm going to tell you, I only revealed myself to you simply because I'm asking you to get rid of your idols. And instead of you coming out, me delivering you, and then you come out and we talk about it again, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Go ahead, Yared. Yared, you want to say something? I can't hear you. Are you on mute? That's okay. Anyone else? All righty. Well, I'll see you all later on today. For those of you who come to class, for the Hebrew class is open to anyone who would like to participate.